Hello and welcome to another Monday night stream. Once again, another week has gone by and I'm back to streaming again. And also I'm going back to what I started out with, which was behind the scenes on Heir to the Empire. Let's have a look how many people we've got watching so far. 5, excellent. Krogan, hello there. General Krogan. So instead of playing TIE Fighter, I'm going to be doing a little bit behind the scenes work on Heir to the Empire, chapter 15. And when I think about chapter 15, it's kind of hard to believe that the series has progressed so far, because we're almost at the halfway point. It's exciting. So yeah, this week I got all of the dialogue needed to finish chapter 15. All arrived on the same day actually, which is quite a nice feeling. So I've done the motion capture for it, and part of the process of motion capture is sometimes it glitches, like the hands will pass through the body in ways that they really shouldn't. So before I can put it into the completed scene, I have to go through the motion and fix those little issues so that it looks right when you're actually watching the episode. And that's what I'm going to be doing for Thrawn today. Thomas, welcome. I don't think Timothy Zahn if Timothy Zahn has seen it, he hasn't said anything. He may not be allowed to publicly for legal reasons, which I understand. But if he is watching it and can't say anything, I hope he's enjoying it. I'd like to feel like if he does see it, he'd be proud of what I've done here. And if he doesn't like it, then I guess I'm sorry. James, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you for watching. I don't know if I would have continued if people like you weren't watching the series, because I only made the first chapter as a little experiment. I didn't expect to progress beyond that. And then when so many people said that they were watching it and wanted to see it, I felt like, well, let's look into this and see if I can make more of it, which is why we're now on chapter 15. World Devastators, not the most practical super weapon. Mainly because it would take a long time to actually go across the surface of the planet. Thomas, I'm glad you like my work so much. And yes, when I say hands going through places they shouldn't, I mean like this. So I'm going to be fixing things like you see his arm goes through his chest, and obviously that would not be right. So I'm going to be fixing things like that. There's about a 3-minute clip of animation, but for the most part, once you fix the first frame of the entire scene, it almost lines up everything else, but not always. So I still have to go back. And I've got an Islamiri here, which he's going to be holding it. I'm not going to animate the Islamiri or do anything with it other than it's placed it in his arm so I can position his other hand properly on it. Yeah, I've seen that Unreal Cinema is not Cinema Public series. Unreal Cinema actually showed up here for one of the streams a couple of weeks ago, which was a nice surprise. I got a chance to say that I was really excited for their project. Yeah, so give people a few minutes to join before I get started. I'm excited to see more of the Knights of the Old Republic series. manufacturers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting Thrawn's animation sorted out. He was actually on Twitter this afternoon. Thrawn was a trending subject. I couldn't quite figure out why, 'cause I did have a look at some of the tweets and there are all kinds of Thrawn related things, but there's no specific Thrawn news or anything. So I decided because of that, this is obviously the perfect day to be working on Thrawn rather than playing TIE Fighter. As much as I like TIE Fighter, I could save that for when I'm not able to show off anything for Edge of the Empire. And I'm excited to finish this chapter because 16 is the halfway point. And I'm very excited by that. James, I'd like to do the whole trilogy, but I'm going to focus on the first book first, just because it's a huge feat of work. I don't think I've... Let me have a quick look. I know I've seen some of the early prototype Star Destroyer designs, but I don't know if I've seen that one specifically. So let me have a quick look. Bear with me a second. Ah, yeah, that one. It's not too different from what we ended up with. I feel like it's a little bit excessive with all the extra towers and equipment on top of it. So it's good design, but I think I prefer the one that we ended up seeing in the film. Gavin, yep. Hello, welcome. I only started a few minutes early. Sherry, welcome. You're not late. I only started a few minutes ago and I haven't actually got started on what I'm going to be working on this evening. Which is the motion capture cleanup for Thrawn in chapter 15. And I'm just going to have a quick drink of water and then I think I'll get started. So this is the first frame of the animation, and this is what we're going to fix first, and then we'll watch through it and then see what else needs to be done afterwards, because obviously that is wrong. So I'm going to edit motion layer, get rid of that message, select the elbow and do that, which is... Oh, I see it. I was doing something else earlier and had mirror set. So let's uncheck mirror because that is going to make things wrong. Bring his arm up here. Let's have a look at the other arm. Yeah, End of Summer is not that far away, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that first episode of Knights of the Old Republic. So I think the other arm is fine. His thumb is obviously extended in an unnatural position, so we'll be fixing that in a moment. And the same on the other. Both hands and thumbs need to be fixed. That pretty much happens in every single piece of motion capture that I work on. So bring back that up. So we'll start with the right hand. I'm going to bring that down, sort of the right. And as I mentioned earlier, for those who weren't here yet when I said it, I'm not going to be animating the East Lemuri at all. I just positioned him there to get an idea of where Thrawn's hands need to be for holding it. So when I actually complete work on the final scene, I'll animate the Easterly then and have the tail hanging down, and his head will move around, and his legs will be positioned a little bit better. But just for this, there's no need for that. So I'll save that for another time. Right. Let's bring that finger and that one, and then the same here, but in the other direction. Eddie and Floopy, welcome. Where's the thumb gone? There it is. It's tricky because the fins are the Easterly there. Yeah, I think that would work. Okay, on to the next hand. So when I actually animate the Easterly properly for the scene, I may need to fix the hands a little bit more. But for just this, I think this is looking pretty good. You actually managed to spell Easterly almost right. Nathan, I'm glad you're looking forward to the next chapter. This is for the next chapter, so you, when you get to watch it completed, you'll know that you got to see some of it done. Floopy, I'm glad you like the Easterly. It's not quite as close to the comic and expanded universe design as we're familiar with, but this is the best that I could get my hands on as far as models go for Easterly. And it's kind of it's a very alien looking lizard, which I think works quite nicely for the idea, for the concept. So the Easterly is passing through his chest there, which is obviously not good. So we're going to rotate the arm, so I'm probably going to have to adjust the hands again. In fact, I should probably have done this first, because now it's messed up the hands. But I can also do that. So it's not too far off where it was, but it's also not stabbing Thrawn with its fins there. So we're going to adjust the hand up. Yeah, there we go. Now there was some issues with his feet. I'm not actually, the way I'm planning to shoot the scene, I say shoot, but where I'm going to position the cameras, you're not going to see his feet, so I am not going to bother fixing them for this, because it's work for no reason. It makes no difference to what you see up here. Right, so I'm quickly going to save, and we're going to have a watch through. Now, as you can see, his fingers are going through the Easterly. That's fine, we can work on that. Expected that. So Thrawn turns around, so I'm going to pause and rotate the camera around. There we go. You know, I could actually give him a pair of slippers to wear. I'm always tempted to do that now as a Tarkin reference. So I need to bring his hand further forward. Also, the head's slightly off, which is fine. That's bad. Just put his hand through the Islamiri. Wolf, welcome. Bunny slippers. I'm sure I could probably find something like that. Now in the scene he's obviously going to be talking. So when I do the motion capture, what I like to do is get the dialogue for the scene and I'll edit it together into an MP3 so that I can play it on my phone and listen to it as I'm performing the scene to get the timing of all the interactions just right. But for this I haven't put the dialogue in for the character because all I'm doing is the body animation. But I found that gives me the best performance because I can gesture and turn my head or whatever else I need to do in time with the dialogue that I'm listening to, and it comes out with some really excellent results. You can't see it because there's no background, but I'm actually moving the camera so we can keep him more or less in the centre view. But the idea is he's pacing a little bit backwards and forwards as he's talking. So there's obviously some clipping issues that need to be resolved here. So that's what I'm going to be doing this evening. Now, I don't know if I'll get through the whole lot tonight because it does take a little while, but I'll see how far I can get. And then I'll finish it off tomorrow. I won't stream it tomorrow because I'll be doing it during the day, and I'd like to get through it really quickly so I can actually get on with the scene itself. And there's a little twitch there. I did see that when I had a quick look through the animation earlier. There's a little problem with his foot, which I know how to fix, in theory. So I'll do that as well. Coming up towards the end of the sequence. I am not going to do motion capture for the Islamiri. There we go. That's the end of the sequence. There was a little bit of extra space here from when I imported it. Unlike Benedict Cumberbatch doing the motion capture for Smaug, I think motion capture for the Islamiri might be a little bit bit of overkill. Wolf, the Islamiri can be animated, but for what I'm doing right now, I'm not going to animate it. I will animate it for the final scene, but just because I'm working on Thrawn, I don't want to. I don't want to take too much time away from Thrawn when working on the Islamiri. I'll just put him there for now so that I get the positioning of the hands right. But when I actually bring Thrawn into the proper virtual set, that's when I'll animate the Islamiri. But it makes no sense to do it this way. It makes no sense to do it now. So yeah, he's going to look like a prop because he's got no animation at all right now. And yes, I do all the animation work myself. I've got a motion capture suit, which is great for the human characters. But then everything else I'll animate in the software that you're looking at now. I saw that TIE Fighter ring video. Interesting concept. Makes a lot of sense. Right, so send needs to come forward a little bit for here. There were a couple of times where it would have been nice to have put someone else in the motion capture suit for the female characters, obviously, because men and women have different ways of walking. Unfortunately, the pandemic made that quite difficult to meet up with other people, so I haven't been able to do that. But on the other hand, I have figured out how to walk like a pregnant woman, which is not something I thought I would ever say. Right, so I brought his hand forward a little more, so we'll get the watch to. I think what I need to do is, for this first shot, is to bring the hand up. So when it goes down, yeah, that's going to work, because for this particular moment, the camera is going to be here, so if there are some clipping issues, it's not going to be a problem. So let's watch to see how he turns. He did. I actually enjoyed doing the motion capture for him petting the Lisa Muri. First time I did it was in chapter 4, when they're in the shuttle, and I had it so he kind of, I'm actually acting out the scene, which you can't see, but he kind of reaches up and strokes the Lisa Muri, and it kind of makes a little noise at him. So little moments like that are fun to add, because it makes it feel more real. Flipper, yeah, I know what you mean. And it was confirmed there was a behind the scenes still from one of the graphic artists for Bad Batch did confirm that last scene is exactly where you think it's going to be. Or what it looked like. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anyone who hasn't had a chance to watch it yet. Sherry, yeah. So one of my friends, one of my local friends was pregnant recently. I say recently, it was about over a year ago now. But when I started doing the last scenes, I sent her a message saying, "Look, can you tell me how did you move when you were pregnant? Because you're the most recent person I know." And so she talked to me and gave me some advice, and I think she was quite entertained by the idea that I was having to do that myself. Right, so he turns around, and occasionally the fingers glitch, like this one as here. It's annoying. I don't know why it does that, but there we are. Hoppy, welcome. Wolf. If Timothy Zahn knows about the project, he hasn't said anything. He may not be allowed to. I do hope that if he does know about it and watches it, that he enjoys what I've done. I also understand that he may not, for legal reasons, may not be allowed to say anything. He's under contracts and all that kind of stuff. And that's not necessarily a Disney thing. That would have been the same if pre-Disney as well. The creative people have to be very cautious to protect what they're working on, and I understand that. So yeah, I hope he likes it if he does watch it. If he doesn't watch it, I I hope he does find out about it at some point and enjoys it. So yeah, the hand's more or less in the right place. Now it's not. Okay, so we're going to go back to where it was. Which is there. So if I press these two buttons, it basically saves every single joint in that position. So that when I adjust it here, it's not ruining everything here. It's only going to change things here. Yes, that finger is... I think there might be a little bit of an issue with the sensor in that part of the motion capture suit. So one of the reasons I did the contest is the prize is a much newer version of the motion capture suit, and hopefully it will stop things like that from happening. So let's go to there. Look, so as you see, it's there, and then suddenly it jumps back to there. It's really annoying. I'll come back and fix that finger later. It's not the most exciting thing to fix, and it's just a little issue there. So let's go back to here, where the hand is clipping through the assembly again. Let's bring it to there. You know what? I just had an idea. I should change the assembly to a low-key alligator, just as a joke to see what kind of reaction it gets. I may do that. So I'm watching through it just for a second again. Oh, okay, that's where I was getting mixed up with. Okay. So we'll go back to where we were. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I'll figure it out. Some of the finger issues are not fine there, so I'll fix those later. Okay, that's where it goes back to being a problem. So remove the hand. Yeah, it's tricky to have a, when you're working on an animation project and you've got a character who doesn't move much, he's not necessarily going to be that interesting to look at. I don't know why I'm fixing the finger. I'll fix the finger last because it makes more sense to me to do it that way. So I understand in Rebels they made him move more to make him more interesting to watch, because he's a very calm character, so he's not going to move that much. I think that's one of the reasons why they changed the eyes, so that you get the little red pupils to make his face a little bit more animated. I understand why they do things like that, even though I'm not necessarily going to do the same thing myself. So that's fine. hand moves there. Why does his hand move there? I don't know, because I don't remember doing it that way. It's one of the little twitches and things that happens. The joys of using a first generation motion capture suit. It's another reason I want that. Want to win and win the newer suit, because I think it'll be a lot more stable and less issues like this coming up. Anarchy, this is iClone. You can check it out on realillusion.com, or just look up iClone if you Google iClone. See, I enjoyed Rebels as well. It's the time period that I enjoy most. So, yeah, I did enjoy Rebels. He's pointing over there. It's part of what he's talking about. And then he brings his hand back to there. I think that's going to be not where it needs to be. So we're going to just and then move it back to the Isimiri. Krogan, the facility was confirmed by one of the artists who worked on it. Oh. Gee, that's where the hand needs to be. So I wonder if I can do this. Yeah. There we go. Let's watch that back. And there's a lot of watching the same thing over and over again, but it's the only way to make sure I get it right, and I didn't get it right because now his hand is there, so I'll adjust that. I'm not going to make him pick his nose, although I've just said that. He may end up doing it by accident. Now this is very specific. Head is at slightly wrong angle, so what I'm going to do is go back and fix that. So the head, he's looking at slightly off, and I should have fixed this earlier, but I was so distracted by the arms I didn't think to. So he's actually facing the person he's talking to, which is Captain Pelion. Yes, I know it looks like he's picking his nose the way you asked for. There we go. Samuel, yes, Easter Miri. Pretty dude, welcome. I was hoping that having Thrawn on the thumbnail would be would attract new people. James H, I'm actually working on it right now for this. This is what I'm working on. Cleaning up the motion capture that I performed for Thrawn for chapter 15. No, there was no excuse me, his finger did not go up his nose. I think the finger should go there though. Looks a little bit more natural. Yeah. See, now when I'm actually finishing this scene off, all I'm going to think about are these jokes you guys are making. I'm going to be laughing instead of getting the scene done seriously. But I don't mind because it is quite funny. No, pretty dude, not teasing. This is chapter 15. I received all of the dialogue needed for the chapter on Friday. It was quite a good day for that. So I was very pleased, and it meant over the weekend I could do the motion capture. I did it yesterday because I like to listen to the dialogue to make sure I get the timing of the animations just right. Oh yeah, I meant to talk about that. I did update his hair. It was in his last appearance, which was chapter 13. Yeah. Yeah, this hair is a new addition to the software. I think it looks a lot better than the old hair. So it's nice to have that. And Luke's had a hair update as well, which is not in this chapter, but if you check out the contest video which I posted the other day, you'll get to see it there. James H, yes, you can watch the screening online. If you check out the post on the community page, there's the links to what I've been given so far. I hope they do give me some more details, so that I can share that. I imagine that would be a little bit closer to the day. But for those who don't know, the Empire was accepted into another film festival. It's one I reported a while ago, but they've just, what I've done is I edited together chapter 1 to 12 into a movie edit, and the reason that it's only up to 12 is because I hadn't finished 13 or 14 at the time I submitted it. And they accepted it, and they're going to do a special online screening. It's free. The details are on the community page. I don't have them on hand right now to post in the chat, but check out the community page on my YouTube channel, and you'll find where to go and get the tickets. And the tickets are free, so that's good to know. And the screening is next Saturday at 7 PM EST, which is midnight here. Yeah, so get back to work. I think his hand needs to move up a little bit more. Anarchy, did you go to the convention and meet him? I did see on his Facebook page that he was at a couple of conventions recently. Apart from the finger, this is all looking pretty good so far. Actually, to the point where I'm going to save it. It's a shame he didn't get a chance to go. I have met him before. He's a really nice person to meet. Very humble about his contribution to Star Wars. But I did enjoy talking to him. So I've actually met him a couple of times at Dragon Con. So the second time was quite interesting because so I'm into Star Trek as well. So I was wearing a Starfleet uniform, the original series gold that I'd bought there, and I also bought this tribble, which I figured out a way to stick it on the strap of the camera bag I was carrying. So it had this tribble sat on my shoulder, and it would make noise. And I was walking through the dealers area, or one of the Dragon Con's a huge convention, so there's several different rooms selling stuff. And there was this store that sold nothing but graphic novels. So I had a look through, and I found the Star Wars section, and then they had the Thrawn trilogy comic book adaptation as one huge hardback copy, but the cover was ripped, so they were selling it for $5. So of course I bought it because okay, the cover was ripped, but everything else was perfectly fine. The rest of the book's in good condition, and for $5 you can't really say no to that. So I bought it, and I walked round the corner, and there was another stall that was selling books, and Timothy Zahn was sat there doing a book signing. And the timing could not have been more perfect. So I joined the queue, which was 2 people. Got to meet, waited there for about 10 minutes while he saw them, because he likes to spend time chatting to people, and that's good because it meant that when it was my turn, I got to have a chat with him. So he saw what I was wearing, and he opened the graphic novel and said one of the artists had put as a joke Kirk, Spock and McCoy in one of the pages, and I can't remember which page it was, but it's in one of the Outer Rim planets. I can't remember which planet, which part of the story it is. I need to dig it out and have a look again. And he pointed out to me, and we had a good chat about Star Trek and Star Wars. And he signed the book for me, which I was obviously very pleased with after buying it for $5 just a few minutes before. So yeah, that's one of my memories of it. And then later in the day, I went to the Star Wars Authors panel, which was Timothy Zahn, obviously, Michael Stackpole, who I didn't get to meet that time, Kevin J. Anderson, and who was it? Barbara Hambley? No. I can't remember. There was another. I can't remember which one she wrote. Anyway, there was a group of Star Wars authors, and I was sat in the audience. I was still wearing the same costume with the tribble on my shoulder. Timothy Zahn obviously spotted me, because it's hard to miss someone wearing with a tribble on his shoulder, and he started telling. One of the things he's talking about was the adaptation, the comic book adaptation, and he started talking the same story he told me about Kirk, Spock and McCoy being secretly added to the market scene in the story. And as again, it was nice to get that moment. Right, so this is a problem because his arm goes through the Eastern Reef's neck. So we're going to go with that one. Just tweak it just a tiny a little bit to get a little marker on the timeline, so that when his arm comes down, I can lift it up, and it doesn't clip through the east. Oh, it does still clip through the east of his head. Let's do that. And the other thing I can do is to go back here and change this ever so slightly. That's fine. To get a little marker for that other arm, go back to this one, so that when Thrawn is pointing forward, he's going to lower the east lemuri just a little bit, so he's not clipping. Now I don't know what's going on here, because that's not what I did. Right, this. Luckily, press the reset button, and it will reset all the animation. We've got markers reset that we don't want to reset, so I'm just going to undo those. Legs, fingers. Yeah, the finger fingers can be. Actually, the other thing, I'm going to change the head. So there we go. A quick drink of water because I'm losing my voice. Okay. Whoops. Come back. Thomas, yeah. When I'm working on behind the scenes, it's a lot easier to chat to people than it is to focus on a game and to chat. But I don't always have a lot to show off. But because Thrawn was trending on Twitter earlier, I thought, well, maybe I should stream this. So I need to bring his arm back here. And not do that. Robot dancing in his undies. Yeah, I haven't got round to making that yet. Seagull, yeah, it looks like it was because the one of the artists who worked on the. I did say earlier we're not going to have any spoilers for it, but I think we're beyond that point now. One of the 3D artists who worked on the show posted some pictures earlier of the sort of behind the scenes of the scene, and a little tag it said Wayland Mount Tantis on it, so I think that pretty much confirms that it's Mount Tantis, even though they didn't name it in the episode. Whether we'll see that more in the future of Bad Batch, or if we'll see that in the live action shows, or maybe both, we don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. Right, let's watch this. Excuse me. Long day. Good day, but it does leave me yawning. So I'm going to put his hand back on the ECU. I think that's where it's meant to be. And then we'll just carry on watching. So let's see. Here's fine. I feel like he needs to look up a little bit, not down. So let's go there. That's better. Well, humour is a very subjective thing. What some people find funny, other people just don't. And that's the way it is. This is actually going perfectly for what I'm imagining. Obviously there's a bit of clipping there which I need to come back and fix. Yeah, Hoppy, his tail is completely unanimated at the moment. I'm not going to animate the East Lemuri right now because all I want to do is make sure his so yeah, I'm not animating the Eastern Mirror at the moment because all I want to do is make sure Thrawn's hands line up as he's holding it. When I animate the human animation and prop animation, so that this creature is a prop, handled differently. So I can save the human animation and load it into the final scene. I can't do that for the prop animation, so I'm not going to animate this East Lemuri now. But when I load Thrawn into the set and bring this animation in properly, I will then animate the East Lemuri so that it moves appropriately as he does. But for now, it's just not worth the time because I would lose all that progress and just have to do it again from scratch. So it's not worth the trouble. But it is good having the East Lemuri there in his arm right now, just so I can know where it is and position his hands properly as he's holding it. If that makes sense. And my favourite non-Thrawn Star Wars book. Let me think about that. There are quite a lot of good ones. Choices of one? No, it's just his tail. Right, so made an adjustment that changed his hand position. So let me see. Is it Choice of One? Or was it Allegiance? The first Mara Jade book. The one that was specifically about Mara Jade from her perspective. I can't remember the title of it because he wrote two. And they were both really good. But I believe Thrawn is in the second one, so I can't count the second one. Also, the Rogue Squadron books. The TIE Vector. I don't remember which TIE that is. Right, so he turns here, And as you see, there's a clipping problem, so we're going to move his arm. We want to make sure we don't lose the arm animation from where it works. So it starts to go wrong there. So if we go back to here, okay, I probably have seen it, but I can't think of the design offhand, so I can't comment on it. I'd look it up, but I don't want to lose my concentration on what I'm doing. Right, so Thrawn turns here. Still a slight clipping issue there, but that's fine because the camera's going to be on this side, so we're not even going to see it. But there we will see it when he turns. So let's do that, and then when he turns, we need to see if we can just twist the arm like that. That's go on. There you go. That's perfect. So we carry on watching. So when I animate it, his tail will move as Thrawn does. A little bit swaying from the movement. Let's see, the hand's fine there, but it does start to clip, so let's get to here, rotate it up so I can see where I'm there we go. A little bit more. Eyeball Productions, welcome. Or should I say General Eyeball? I feel that might be a little bit more accurate. His hand's kind of still going to the fins there, so I'll move it back there. Okay, carry on watching. So actually his head is fine here. You just start to tilt it unnecessarily. So let's go there and see how it looks. That's better. So far, so good. That finger obviously needs to be fixed, but I'll come back to that. There's a big glitch coming up at some point. That was obviously a little bit of one because he suddenly moved from side to side. There we go. I'll come back and fix that. The rest of it should be pretty much fine. Okay. Save. I think that's probably a good idea. Eyeball Productions, this is iClone. You can check it out on Real Illusion's website. There's a trial copy if you want to check it out. And Character Creator, which is how I created the Thrawn character model. And there's some other fun stuff on there as well. Excuse me. Can't stop yawning, which might be a sign that I should probably go to bed soon. So I'm pretty happy with Thrawn there. I still want to fix the finger, and there's a little dip thing he does here, which is a problem with his leg, and I'm going to fix that last because it makes fixing the fingers harder if I do that first. Yeah, I don't know why it did that, because when I was doing the motion capture, my leg did not do that. Or if it did, I didn't notice. But that is the way of motion capture sometimes. You get weird glitches like that. Actually, yeah, I think this might be a good point to stop for the night. So I hope you enjoyed that little introduction to motion capture cleanup. To do it for almost every character. If I'm really lucky, characters who are sitting down don't have any problems, or maybe very small problems, which is good because Han and Lando are also in this chapter and they are both sat down. So doing this cleanup for them should be a lot smoother. And as much as it is good to see Han and Lando, Thrawn's still my favourite, so I chose to do him this evening. So yeah, chapter 15 is coming along really well. Got to do the motion cleanup. I've got all the recordings, so it's just a matter of putting it all together in the two scenes that make the chapter up. And then I can move on to 16, which is the halfway point. I'm really excited about that one because it is the halfway point, and I always felt like that was so far away, it was so far off, and now suddenly it's the next chapter after this one. So it's very exciting to reach that point. And it's also an exciting chapter. It's got some of my favourite Thrawn dialogue in it. So yeah, I can't wait to work on that one. But obviously I have to finish 15 first. And 15's got Thrawn in it, which is always good. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight's stream. Thank you everyone for coming and enjoying and watching and chatting in the chat. It's a lot easier to interact with you guys when I'm doing this rather than when I'm gaming, especially with something like TIE Fighter, where just looking away from the screen briefly can end up getting you killed. So Yeah, it's a lot easier to be social with this, but there's not always a lot for me to show, which is why I stream. So yeah, hope everyone has a great week. May the Thrawn be with you, and keep an eye on the channel because chapter 15 will be coming soon. So take care, and may the Thrawn be with you.